I parked with the wheel turned too sharp, and now it pulls when I try to straighten it. Like the car remembers how tired I was. The seatbelt rubs the same spot across my ribs. I shift. I always shift. Nothing ever helps, but I do it anyway. Like maybe this time the angle will line up, the ache will dissolve, the air will stop pressing down behind my shoulders. I used to sit upright. Now I fold. I slump. I lean into the pain until it feels normal. My back still hurts from Tuesday. That was 4 days ago, or 5. I don't know anymore. Time isn't days, it's orders. Gas refills, coffee runs. How long until the phone dies? I remember it was raining. The kind of cold that makes the ache feel deeper, more personal. Like the weather had a grudge. The stairs to that apartment weren't steep, just long. 3 flights, no elevator. The bag was heavier than it looked. My right knee clicked by the 2nd floor. I tilted the weight to the left, felt something pull near my spine. I didn't cry out. I didn't even pause, just kept going. That's the rule. You keep going. My body disagreed, but I wasn't asking for permission. I buzzed the unit. No one answered. I stood there holding their dinner in my breath. The bag was starting to leak something warm through the bottom. My fingers cramped. I called. No response. Then, finally, a voice. Casual, like they forgot they even ordered. I smiled so it wouldn't sound like it hurt. I always smile, even when no one's looking, even when it's just me and the door and the food I'll never eat. I set the bag down and turned slowly, like I was pretending to admire the hallway. But really, I was trying to figure out how to walk back down without making noise, without wincing too loud. I took the steps sideways, half-stepping with my left, dragging the right behind. I gripped the railing like it might tell me something reassuring. By the time I got to the bottom, my shirt was damp and sticking to my spine. I sat in the car for 12 minutes after that, not scrolling, not working, just sitting, breathing shallow so my ribs wouldn't spasm, watching people pick up food through their windshields like it's nothing, like someone didn't have to bleed for it. I used to laugh at people who talked about posture. Now I would trade sleep for a chair that didn't make me want to cry. My seat doesn't adjust anymore. Or maybe I broke it. I jammed a towel behind my lower back 2 weeks ago. It's still there. Smells like old fries. I don't care. The towel helps. A little. I tell myself I'll stretch more, that I'll take a day off and rest. But I've been saying that since February. It's always next week. Next week I'll buy new inserts for my shoes. Next week I'll go to the chiropractor. Next week I'll stand up straight. But Tuesday keeps coming back. Every Tuesday breaks me a little differently. I used to drive long distances without thinking. Now I memorize where the speed bumps are. I avoid left turns when I can. It's not fear, it's management. There's a pinch in my hip when I press the brake too hard. My left hand shakes sometimes when I grip the wheel too tight. I've learned how to move like I'm fine, like I'm in control. But the truth is, my body stopped asking for help a long time ago. Now it just obeys. It waits until the shift is over, then it complains. Quietly, persistently. It creaks when I bend. It locks when I stretch. It whispers in ways I don't have time to answer. Nobody sees it. That's the part that gets me. Nobody sees the limp I try to hide when I get out of the car. Nobody notices the way I lean against the door while I wait for the restaurant to call my name. I blend in. That's what this job teaches you. How to disappear. I've dropped off hundreds of meals to people who never made eye contact. I've handed over bags to outstretched arms that never thanked me. And it's not the rudeness that hurts. It's the absence. The emptiness where recognition should be. like I'm not even part of the exchange, just a shadow between the food and the door. I told myself I could handle it, that it was just a tight muscle, that rest would fix it. But rest is expensive. Pain is cheaper. So I pay in soreness, in stiffness, in movements I used to take for granted. The truth is, I've adapted to the damage. I've reshaped myself around it. My body is a map of shortcuts, ways to move that don't hurt as much. I don't lift with my legs anymore. I lift with calculation. In si tilte, I angle. I rehearse every bend before I make it. Because one wrong move is a shift I can't afford to miss. Sometimes I think about what this job has made me good at. I can time green lights like a metronome. I can carry 2 bags, one in each hand, without spilling a drop. I can deliver dinner with a smile while my spine screams. That's a skill, I guess. Learning how to hurt quietly, to endure efficiently, to make your suffering look like service. There's a kind of pride in that, a twisted pride. But it doesn't last. Not when the engine cuts off and the silence returns. Not when you realize your back still hurts from a Tuesday no one else remembers. I stretch in the dark now, after shifts, in the driveway, in the parking lot behind the grocery store. I hold the edge of the door and pull until something cracks. It doesn't help much. But it reminds me I'm still in there. Somewhere. Beneath the bruises. Beneath the tired. There's still someone inside this body who used to sleep well. Who used to walk without thinking. Who didn't have to brace for stairs. But that was before the app started keeping score. Before survival got measured in miles and tips. Before I learned that pain is just another part of the uniform. And now? Now I just shift and keep driving. Sleep is a thing other people deserve. I don't remember what rested feels like. I remember what the word means. But the sensation, it's gone. Like a language I used to speak but haven't heard in years. I wake up exhausted like I'd been running all night. Maybe I was, in my head, through routes I don't recognize. Or maybe I never really slept. Sometimes it's hard to tell if I'm dreaming or just remembering something sideways. I close my eyes and see maps. Not places, just routes, arrows, timers, surge zones glowing like open wounds. My dreams buzz like notifications. I hear the ping even when the phone's dead. I look down and nothing's there. But I still feel it. That phantom tremble. Like my bones expect to be told where to go next. I've fallen asleep at red lights. Not deep sleep, just long enough to forget I was waiting. I jerk awake to a horn or the silence that comes after it. I always check the rear view first, then the time. If it's after 2 a.m., I blame the road. If it's before, I blame myself. I've driven home with one eye open. I've opened both just to prove I'm still here. I've slapped my own face, screamed into the steering wheel, bit my tongue hard enough to bleed just to stay alert. Sometimes I talk to the GPS like it's a friend. I thank it when it reroutes. I tell it sorry when I miss a turn. I tell myself it's better than silence. The nights are longer now, not because of the clock, just the way they stretch. The way time stops making sense when you haven't slept right in days or weeks. I used to set alarms to wake up. Now I set alarms to remember to go to bed. But I cancel them. There's always one more ride, one more delivery, one more hour that might make tomorrow easier. It never does. I once promised myself I'd stop after I hit $100. Then I moved the goalpost to $150. Then I stopped looking at the total altogether. As long as I'm moving, I'm not sinking. I've slept in my car more times than I can count. Not real sleep, just shutting down. A folded sweatshirt becomes a pillow. A seatbelt pressed into my ribs becomes background noise. I tuck my hoodie over my eyes and hope no one knocks on the window. Once, I parked behind a gas station and left the engine running. I didn't mean to. I just forgot. The hum was comforting, like a lullaby made of exhaust. I woke up cold, the tank nearly empty. I didn't panic. I just checked the app to see how long I'd been offline. There's a lot of us who do this. Parking lot people. We don't wave. We don't talk. We just know. The guy in the Camry with condensation on his windows. The woman curled up with her legs on the dashboard. The delivery bags in the back seat. The receipts on the dash. The car that never fully cools down. We're everywhere, but invisible. Ghosts on break. Zombies with schedules. Sleep becomes something you steal, not something you're given. I've spent nights in the lot of a 24-hour gym. I don't have a membership. But if you park near the far light post and pretend to stretch outside the door, no one says anything. I keep wipes in the glove box, deodorant in the center console. I've brushed my teeth in rest stop bathrooms that smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. I once changed my shirt in the back seat while it was still damp from rain. Everything feels slightly damp when you never fully stop moving. I used to drink energy drinks. Now I just drink whatever's cheap. Gas station coffee tastes like burnt rubber and regret. I drink it anyway. I microwave leftovers at 2 a.m. in a 7-Eleven where the clerk doesn't ask questions. I think he knows. I think he's one of us. I eat in the dark, engine running, door cracked just enough to let out the heat. I chew slow. Not to savor, just to delay the next ping. I don't enjoy food anymore. I calculate it. Calories, cost, how long it takes to digest versus how long until I might sleep again. I've gone to bed hungry just to hit a bonus. I've gone to bed full just to feel something warm in my stomach. Neither helps. The hunger wakes me. The fullness makes me sick. Sometimes I park at the top of a hill near the industrial park. It's quiet there. No traffic, no pedestrians. Just lights blinking over warehouses and the occasional truck passing in the distance. I lean the seat back and stare at the ceiling or out the side window. I don't try to sleep. I just stop. For 10 minutes, 20, an hour. I let the night settle on me like dust. I think about texting someone, but I never do. What would I even say? Still tired, still driving, still here. My mind drifts in those moments. I think about what it used to be like. Waking up naturally, having a morning, not dreading it. I used to wake up and shower because I wanted to. Now I shower because I stink, or because it's the only 10 minutes where no one can ask me for anything. No dings, no requests, just steam and silence. I used to love mornings, the smell of coffee, the light through the window. Now mornings are just the end of a shift, or the start of another. I once tried to take a weekend off, just sleep, just rest. I made it till noon. Then the panic started, like I could feel the money I wasn't making. I checked the app just to see the surge map. I stared at it for 15 minutes. Then I got dressed. My body wasn't ready, but my brain had already clocked in. That's when I realized I don't rest. I wait. For the next ride, the next shift, the next permission to stop. My memory's worse now. I forget what day it is unless the rent's due. I forget names. I forget conversations. I've rewatched the same movie 3 times without realizing. I leave things in the car and find them weeks later. A charger, a pair of socks, a notebook I don't remember writing in. I read the words and know they're mine. But I don't remember being the person who wrote them. That scares me, but not enough to change. just enough to notice. I told myself this was temporary, a stopgap, a side hustle. But I've built a whole life around it, or maybe inside it. My sleep schedule is a joke. My meals are improvisation. My time off is guilt. And the app is always there, glowing, waiting. I sleep next to it, wake to it, dream through it. It doesn't rest, so I don't. I've forgotten what rest is, but I remember that other people still get it, and I think that's what makes it worse. Not just the tiredness, but the knowing that sleep is a thing other people deserve. I can't afford to get sick, so I don't. I coughed blood into a napkin once in a Taco Bell parking lot. I wiped it away like it was ketchup, folded it twice, tucked it into a takeout bag, drove to the next pickup. I didn't want to know what it meant, didn't Google it, didn't check the mirror, just turned up the AC and focused on the route. It was around the holidays. I remember because the roads were full of brake lights and wreaths, and I was behind on rent. I told myself it was a dry throat, told myself I'd get some tea later. I never did. I delivered 3 more orders that night. No one noticed my voice was gone. No one asked if I was okay. The app just kept pinging. You're on a roll. Deliver now and earn extra. It never says, you good? It never says, you've been online for 10 hours. Maybe breathe. It just offers more. I've driven with chills, with nausea, with dizziness so bad I had to pull over and lay my head against the window. I've taken cold medicine and driven through warm nights where the air felt like syrup. One time I threw up in a gas station bathroom, rinsed my mouth with Sprite, and kept going. I had a delivery bonus that ended in 45 minutes. The food was already in the car. I didn't want to cancel. I told myself it was food poisoning. Something I ate, not something bigger, not something that needed rest. Because rest isn't free. Rest is the most expensive thing I know. A day off is $120 lost. A slow week is a missed bill. A fever is 3 shifts. A sprained ankle is a month of falling behind. I know the math. I've done it in my head, lying in the back seat with my knees pulled up and a heating pad plugged into the center console. I've stood outside clinics, reading the intake signs, checking my bank app, and walking away. I once sat in my car in front of an urgent care for 22 minutes, watched people go in, come out with gauze or paperwork or a look that said someone helped them. I didn't go in. I couldn't. Rent was 6 days away. My gas tank was half full. I needed groceries. And the pain wasn't screaming, just whispering. I could manage whispers. I've managed a lot of whispers. A stiff neck that turned into a locked jaw. A wrist that clicks every time I hold a drink carrier. A tooth that aches only when I smile too wide. I've learned how to breathe around the sore spots. I've learned which corners to cut, which movements to fake. I've learned how to deliver a hot pizza with shaking hands and a face that says, I'm fine. The customers never look close. The app never asks. You show up. That's the job. That's the measure of success. Not wellness, not strength, just availability. One time I dropped a box of groceries because my arms gave out. I bent too fast. The weight shifted. My elbow flared up. The apples rolled into the gutter. I apologized 5 times to the customer. They were upset about the eggs. I told them I'd file a claim. They didn't ask if I was okay. I picked everything up. My arms shook the whole ride back. I didn't take another order for 30 minutes. I just sat in the dark with my hazards on and waited for the pain to shrink. It didn't, but it dulled. Dull is good. dull means I can still drive. I keep painkillers in the glove box, the cheap ones. I rotate brands so my stomach doesn't give out. I've tried sleeping it off. That doesn't work. The ache doesn't care if I lie down. It just follows me into the silence. I've tried ignoring it. That works better. Distraction is medicine. The next order, the next turn, the next ping. If you keep moving, you don't feel as much. Still hurts, but it gets quieter. And when it gets quiet enough, you can convince yourself it's gone. People say listen to your body, but mine doesn't speak the way it used to. It murmurs, it nags, it doesn't get the final word. Money does. Rent does. The electricity bill does. I have a little notebook in my glove box with numbers I don't want to forget. How many deliveries it takes to fill a tank. How many hours of peak pay equal a copay. How much time I need to catch up. Time is currency now. So is pain. You spend it. You gamble it. You lose track of how much you've used. I've overdrawn my health more times than my bank account. The difference is, the bank sends alerts. The body just stops asking. I know people who've driven through COVID, through flu, through sprains, through panic attacks. I've seen drivers at the pickup counter who looked like they hadn't slept in 3 days. Eyes red, shoulders slumped, breathing through their mouths, still picking up, still scanning in, still trying to smile. I've seen a guy wrap his wrist with duct tape because he couldn't afford a brace. I've seen someone change their bandages between orders. We don't talk about it. We just nod. The kind of nod that says, I know. The kind of nod that says, me too. I've lied to friends about how I'm doing, told them I'm fine, that it's just a cough, that I've got it handled, that I'll see a doctor when things calm down. But things never calm down. The hustle doesn't pause. The bills don't wait. And doctors don't take maybe next week as payment. So I keep going, keep driving, keep pretending I'm not breaking down, because I can't afford to fall apart. There's no coverage for that, no backup plan, no one else on the schedule. I'm the coverage, I'm the plan. One time I woke up in the middle of the night, convinced I was having a heart attack. My chest was tight, my arm was numb. I panicked, sat up, took deep breaths, waited. It passed. I think it was stress, or maybe not. I don't know. I didn't check. I had deliveries in the morning. And if I went to the ER, I'd have to explain how I didn't have insurance, how I couldn't pay, how I wasn't sure what was wrong. And what if they found something? What if it was real? That's the part I can't risk. It's not the sickness that ruins you. It's the knowing, the diagnosis, the name. Once it has a name, you have to do something about it. And doing something costs money, costs time, costs work. So I don't get sick. I don't let myself. I treat my body like a rental. I return it worse than I found it. Scratches, dents, a little slower off the line, but still running. That's what matters. I tell myself I'll get it checked out someday, when I have extra, when things are more stable. But stability is a mirage. An extra never shows up. So I budget pain. I ration effort. I tell myself every cough is dust. Every cramp is nothing. Every sore throat is dehydration. Every symptom is an inconvenience, not a condition. I think about what it would feel like to be taken care of, to rest without guilt, to wake up and know I have space to be unwell. But that's not my life. That's not this work. That's not how any of this was built. So I keep my foot on the pedal, keep my hands on the wheel, keep my cough quiet and my excuses ready. And if it gets worse, I'll deal with it later. Not now. Never now. Because I can't afford to get sick. So I don't. and that's the only thing keeping me upright. This job didn't kill me, but it took something that doesn't grow back. There's a noise my knee makes now when I stand up, like fabric being torn slowly, deep inside the joint. It doesn't hurt exactly, not anymore. It's just there, a part of me now, like the worn-down heel on my left boot, like the sliver of pain under my shoulder blade that flares every time I twist too fast. These aren't injuries. They're instructions, quiet reminders that I'm not who I was when I started, that something changed. And it's not going to change back. I remember when it was still new, when the soreness felt like effort, like proof I was doing something. My lower back would ache after a long shift, and I'd stretch it out against the car door, shake my legs, say out loud to no one, "That was a good run." I believed it then, that the pain was temporary, that it meant progress. I'd drink water, sleep for 6 hours, and feel almost normal the next day. That was a long time ago. Now I stretch and feel older than my age. I sleep and wake up worse than I went to bed. I rest and feel guilty, like I should be doing something, like stopping is a mistake. I used to walk fast. I used to climb stairs 2 at a time. I used to run for fun. Now I park close whenever I can. I lean when I stand still. I brace for pain like it's weather. My body has become something I work around, not with. It's a list of don'ts. Don't bend that way. Don't sit too long. Don't twist without warming up first. I've stopped expecting ease, stopped hoping to feel better. I just aim for tolerable, for quiet pain, for a version of discomfort that lets me keep driving. My wrists click now, both of them, from the steering wheel, from lifting too many awkward orders with one hand while holding the app in the other. My ankles swell. My calves feel tight even on days I don't walk much. The fatigue doesn't pass, it builds. Layers over layers, like dust in a place you never quite finish cleaning. I remember thinking this was a phase, that I'd work hard for a year, save up, move on. But years pass, and the work stays, and I don't bounce back the way I used to. That part of me, the part that recovered, it's gone. I don't know when it happened. There wasn't a moment, just a slow peeling back of ability, a quiet erosion, like paint cracking in corners you don't look at until it's everywhere. One day I realized I couldn't get off the floor without grunting, that I needed both hands to stand, that I make noises now when I move. Little huffs, little reminders, the sound of wear. There's a dullness in my lower spine, a numbness near my right hip. My posture has changed. I hunch without noticing. My neck tilts forward. I catch myself in reflection sometimes and flinch. Who is that? When did I start moving like someone double my age? I adjust my rearview mirror lower now to account for the way I sink in the seat. I used to sit tall. Now I just try not to cramp. There's no diagnosis, no paperwork, no official record of what's been taken. Just the feeling, the knowledge, that something once flexible is now fixed, that something once alive is now locked in. The freedom to move without thought, to lift without fear, to rest without worry. That's what I lost. And no doctor can give it back. It's strange to mourn something you didn't know you had until it left. I didn't treasure my strength. I didn't notice my ease. I didn't realize my body was still mine until it wasn't. Now I measure my movements. Now I scan rooms for chairs with backs. Now I time how long I stand. I avoid sitting on the ground, not because I can't, but because I might not get up without pain. That's the difference, the shift. Not what I do, but what I expect. Pain is expected now, An absence of pain feels like luck. I've aged fast, not visibly maybe, but inside, I feel it, in my joints, in my breath, in the way my body answers back after every long day. I don't recover, I accumulate. And it's not just physical. It's something deeper, something tired in the core of me. The kind of heaviness that sleep doesn't lift. A fatigue that isn't just about hours. It's about years. I've lost the ability to rest without guilt. Even on my off days, I feel like I'm falling behind. I lie down and my mind replays the week, how many hours I missed, how much I could have earned, what bills are creeping up. I can't unwind. I can't truly stop. My body may pause, but my panic doesn't. And so even rest becomes labor. Even silence becomes noise. This job didn't kill me, but it took things I didn't know could be taken. My recovery, my peace, my softness. I used to have softness in my step, in my breath, in the way I sat without bracing. Now everything is tension, even sleep. I clench my jaw at night, wake up with my teeth sore, my fists closed. I don't remember when that started. There's a scar on my shin from a delivery I don't remember, a box that cut me, a railing that scraped. I cleaned it up with a napkin in the car and forgot about it. Now it's a line across my leg, a reminder. Most of the damage doesn't scar. Most of it just stays hidden in my tissues, my tendons, my timing. I move slower now. I don't admit it, but I do. And the hardest part is knowing this isn't over, that I'm still doing the thing that's breaking me, that I have no exit plan, that the damage will keep stacking quietly, invisibly, until I become something I never meant to be. I see older drivers and wonder what hurts in them, if they ever got back what they lost, if they even remember what they were saving up for. I used to believe in goals. Now I believe in staying afloat, in holding together, in making it through the week without something snapping. That's what my life is now. A series of calculations. How much pain equals how much survival. And I've learned to accept the trade, to smile through it, to bend just enough to keep from breaking, but not too far, because I know what breaking feels like now. It's not loud, it's not sudden, it's gradual, it's quiet. It sounds like a knee that clicks, like a back that tenses before you even move, like a breath you take before you lift something you used to lift without thinking, like a silence that stretches longer every night before you fall asleep. If you fall asleep. This job didn't kill me, but it took something that doesn't grow back. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do without it. I worked my body into the ground and still owe copay. I used to think hard work would fix it, that if I just kept showing up, kept grinding, kept driving, kept bleeding quietly into the seat, I'd land somewhere solid. I believed in the numbers. I tracked my hours, counted my deliveries, calculated my weekly intake down to the last cent. I told myself the pain would pay off. That fatigue was the fee for getting ahead. That every sore muscle, every skipped meal, every missed call from someone I used to know was a brick in a house I was building. But it wasn't. It was a hole, and I dug it with both hands. I ran the numbers this morning before I bought a sandwich. $4.12 in the checking, $6 in the savings. I stared at the screen for 3 full minutes before I decided I wasn't hungry. I wasn't full either. I just wasn't allowed to be either one. I drove hungry and told myself it made me sharper. That hunger kept me focused, but mostly it just made me quiet. Too tired to talk, too bitter to smile. I passed 10 fast food drive-thrus today and didn't stop. The car smelled like food I couldn't afford to eat. I skipped laundry again. I've done it enough times that I know exactly how many more wears I can get out of a shirt before it folds in on itself. I wash socks in the sink with dish soap. I dry them on the dashboard while I drive. I tell myself that's clever, that's resourceful, that's the hustle. But it's not. It's what happens when your bank app becomes your mirror and you don't like what you see. Gas is a negotiation now. Every fill-up is a gamble. Can I make it until morning on a quarter tank? Can I coast through the delivery zone if I take fewer detours? I've done the math so many times, I know exactly how many miles I can squeeze out of desperation. I've driven with the fuel light on, heart thumping, trying to calculate which costs more, stopping or continuing. I've cursed at the gauge like it betrayed me. Like the car should know I'm not doing this because I want to. Like it should understand. I've delivered groceries to people in luxury apartments while checking my own balance to make sure I had enough to get home. I've dropped off $20 smoothies to front porches and then skipped dinner because it wasn't in the budget. I've said enjoy with a smile while my stomach made sounds I couldn't ignore. I've left hot meals at doors while I shivered from an old fever that never fully broke. That's the job. You perform wellness. You mime stability. You carry what you can't afford to treat. The seat creaks louder now. It leans farther back than I want it to. I shove the same towel behind my lower back, old, stiff, stained from whatever leaked one night while I slept in the parking lot of a 24-hour diner. I don't throw it away. I need it. It helps me fake posture. I press against it when the pain spikes. It doesn't help much, but it gives me something to push back against. A little resistance. Something to remind me I still exist. I keep napkins in the glove box. Not for messes, for emergencies. For when my nose won't stop bleeding. For when my stomach turns and I have to pull over and spit something out. For when I wipe the corners of my eyes and pretend it's just sweat. They're from restaurants I can't afford to eat at. Branded napkins from places where the staff doesn't know I'm not a customer. I keep them like receipts for things I can't return. I've driven through pain I didn't have a name for. I've sat with fevers that felt like someone was lighting matches in my spine. I've counted stairs before climbing them, timing my breath with every step. I've held the railing like it was a secret, like it knew how close I was to falling apart. I've climbed sideways. I've delivered food with one hand while the other gripped my ribs. I've smiled through spasms, laughed off limps. I told myself I'd rest after this week, then the next, then the one after that. But rest is a myth. A luxury for people who don't measure their lives in rides completed and bonuses missed. I sacrificed my sleep, my spine, my smile. I gave up softness, gave up silence. I learned how to live in the car, how to shift my weight so my hip wouldn't go numb, how to nap between orders without missing too many. I learned how to fake alertness, how to sound cheerful when the voice on the app said, "Thanks for delivering." I knew it wasn't for me. The thanks were pre-written, automated, like the whole job, like my responses, like my pain. I burned myself out just to break even. And even that was temporary. Even that didn't last. The tips dried up. The incentives changed. The rent went up. The food got more expensive. And I stayed the same, just a little more worn down, a little more tired, a little more hollow. I kept thinking the next milestone would save me. 1,000 deliveries, 2,000, a 5-star streak, a perfect week. But the app doesn't remember your good days. It only wants to know if you're available now. And now I'm here. Still driving, still showing up, still pretending this body can take it. I can't remember the last time I got a checkup. The last time I sat in a waiting room and didn't worry how much it would cost just to be seen. I don't go anymore. Not because I'm not sick, but because I already know the answer. I already know what they'll say. Rest, heal, take time. Words that don't apply to people like me. People who budget Tylenol, who ice their joints with frozen water bottles from gas station coolers, who take deep breaths before stepping out of the car because the world expects them to smile. I worked my body into the ground. I gave it everything, every hour, every night, every mile. I broke pieces of myself I didn't know were fragile, and I did it for less than minimum wage some weeks. I did it because I believed it would get better. I did it because I was told this was freedom. But I'm not free. I'm owned by the schedule, by the ping, by the fear of what happens if I say no. And after all that, after all the wear and pain and pretending, I still owe copay. Still can't afford the help I need. Still get sick and call it something else. Still bend in ways I shouldn't have to. Still drive this car that smells like old food and back pain. Still tell myself next week will be different. Still calculate every mile like it might save me. Still, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I just know the napkins are almost gone. And I can't afford to stop. And I can't afford to be sick. And I can't afford... I don't think anyone saw me. And maybe that's the part that hurts.